crafty people. In this video, we're going to be talking about knitting abbreviation DPN, which stands for double pointed needles. So as you can see, I've got a set of these cheapo aluminum double pointed needles. There's all sorts of needles. They can be made of wood, carbon fiber, or carbon fiber, metal, all sorts of types. And what they're for is to be able to knit in the round. Now, of course, you can knit in the round with circular needles, but sometimes, especially if you don't like the magic loop technique, that can be not the best and create laddering. If you don't like the magic loop, you might want to use double pointed needles, especially if it's like a small circumference. And it's easy to do, it's just a little finicky. So let's do a tiny bit of knitting with double pointed needles. So I'm just going to cast on 5 stitches per needle. Generally speaking, you will divide needles evenly, or if there's a panel of particular work that you don't want to split between needles, you can have it on one needle and the rest on the rest of the needles. But I'm going to start off by casting on 5 stitches on each needle. So this is how I do it. So I've got 5 stitches here. You can cast on all of your stitches and then divide it onto separate needles, but this is how I do it. So 5 there. I'll put the next needle on top of the one I've been casting with and have it slightly higher up than the one I just worked. And then just carry on casting on. So 3, 4, 5. I can drop that other needle. I don't need it. I can move the stitches a little bit to the center, just so they don't slip. And I'll just carry on casting on. And I'm just doing a regular lawn tail cast on. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Drop this needle, I don't need it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And because I'm going to be knitting in the round, I'm going to cast on an extra stitch here. All right. So I've got this string of needles hanging about. I'll connect them. So I'll have the yarn in the back. So this is how they connect, in a square shape like that. And to start off knitting in the round, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this first stitch over onto my right hand needle, so the last needle I was casting on, and then slide this extra stitch over that stitch, and you've got like a big loop. Just tighten that and slide that first stitch right back onto that first needle, and you've got a big gap here. That's fine. You can tighten it all up. Whoops. Tighten it all up, and it'll stay perfectly fine once you weave in that end. So this is my first needle I'm going to work on. I'm going to slide all of these to the middle. And as you can see, the first round, pretty finicky. But once you get this past this first round, it's fine. So I've got this extra needle, the 5th needle, and I'm going to start knitting. knit as you regularly would, and let those other needles hang and clank and do whatever they want to do. The stitches are safe. Just be sure not to yank a needle by an accident. So I'll tighten that bit up again. So I've knit off of this needle. It becomes my right hand needle. And I'm going to carry on knitting as normal. Now, people sometimes have a problem with an effect that's called laddering between the needles, where stitches are uneven, and so you kind of get this like gap in between here. I find the best thing to do is to not adjust your tension in any way. So when you're between the needles like this, you're starting on a new needle, don't pull it, don't make it looser, don't do anything different. Just carry on with your regular tension. Laddering does often happen when people think that because they're in between needles and stitches kind of look stretched out, that they need to pull at their tension. And I can understand the logic. However, when you knit, even from the same needle, when you've got already stitches on one hand side and stitches left over on the other hand side, pulling them apart, it does look like there's space there and things are uneven, when in fact they're even. So when you go between needles, don't adjust your tension, keep it the same, and you'll find that the laddering effect is pretty diminished. Oops, that tail. Once I weave in that tail, it'll be absolutely fine. So yeah, the tail is also great because I can see I've come to the end of the round. This is the beginning of a second round, and I can carry on knitting in the round. So once you get to the next few rounds, like I find past the first round, it immediately becomes easier. But that first round can be tight, can be finicky, and yeah. So play around with it. It's really easy to do. It's just finicky, and once you get the hang of it, it's really no bother. And you might find that this method is much better for things like sleeves and socks than your magic circle. So there you go. Abbreviation is DPN, double pointed needles.